it's a clear character flaw when somebody can say to you, you're asking me to do this, but you're showing me that you do something completely different.
Meet the elite, Long Island.
And welcome. This is Meet the Elite Long Island. I'm Steve Harper. And on this podcast, we highlight those people who make a difference on Long Island when it comes to business, improving our economy and our community. Today, we've got somebody who's made it his life's work to improve leadership on Long Island. Going to learn a lot today. Joe Beauchamp from Beauchamp Team Growth Solutions joins us on the program. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thank you so much for having me here. Appreciate it.
Glad you're here. My first question, you meet a lot of people, a lot of business leaders. What are you hearing from them? Like, candidly, what are they telling you?
Yeah. So generally, it's a little bit of a skittish time right now. There's been a little bit of slowdown. They're expecting things to turn around, but all this talk about the tariffs and stuff has been, it's on people's mind, and we're not really sure which direction it's going. So people are definitely skittish. One day the market's up, one day it's down. So that's the current thing. But we're looking for, there's an anticipation that business is going to grow and get better as the year progresses, 2025.
When you help leaders, do you identify their strengths and their weaknesses before you even dig in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that I see in leaders, probably their biggest stumbling block is this idea that their success is their fault. Like, hey, I'm successful because everything I do is great. Not I'm successful because some of the stuff I do is really great and some of the stuff I do really, is not so great. But in spite of that, I still make it anyway. And that's my ability. It's my job to try to help them to realize, hey, these are your strengths. This is what got you here. However, you do have weaknesses, and let's try to focus on building up some of those or mitigating some of that stuff. Let's capitalize on your strengths, but also not shoot yourself in the foot at the same time, which is a lot of what we see leaders do today.
I want to talk about the process you have in just a moment, but definitely going to go mask down. Curious about this. We have leaders, we have people in C-suite positions. Imposter syndrome. Are many of them dealing with that? They'll never talk about it, but is that actually going on?
Absolutely. So here's the crazy thing. I tell people, when it comes to imposter syndrome, like nobody knows what they're doing. Like everybody's
we have no idea what we're doing on this podcast, by the way. No.
It's not that everybody's completely clueless. It's that, everybody has that sense of that somebody else somehow has it better than they do. Somebody else is, they have all their ducks in a row, and somebody else has everything organized, and somebody else, they have the leadership skills, they have the right team, they have the right people, they have everything. And that's why they're super successful. And if I can only put all those pieces together, right? But nobody's like that. Some people have a little bit better than others, but we live in a Facebook world where we take our best self, we edit it down. Same thing with this podcast. We're going to edit out the stuff that didn't sound good, didn't make sense.
Full disclosure, we're in real time. We don't cut anything here, but
okay. Well, I should be more careful what I say then. But we live in an edited world where people are seeing the best put out front, and everything else is kind of like, like you said, masked down, but everybody's masked up. We're all covering up this, insecurity, or muddling through, as I like to call it. But yeah, everybody's in the same boat. Now, there are some people who absolutely need to work on being better. And I think everybody can improve our skills. So in that regard, I think everybody should focus on, reading books, listening to audiobooks, going to seminars, going to stuff, getting a coach, bringing in outside help, getting outside eyes on them, getting assessments done that help show strengths and weaknesses. So, be vulnerable, be aware, be self-conscious of, who you are, and be focused on continuous self-improvement and growth. And that should be the solution to imposter syndrome.
You talk about assessments. Now, we did one. You did one for me, a DISC assessment. Got to tell you, not that I was skeptical of how this is going to go. Is this really going to show who I am and strengths and things like that? Spot on. It was like looking at the mirror of yourself, but in detail. Really interesting.
It's crazy that, and a lot of people say the same thing. It's like, how does this know everything about my life? I answered 24 questions in 10 minutes a time. And all of a sudden I have this 30-page document on my life. And I can look at a simple graph, even without reading the thing. I can look at the graphs on there and be like, okay, this is how your childhood was like. This is what your life is like. This is what you do. This is what you do at work. These are your strengths. These are your weaknesses. And people are like, how do you know all that? I've seen teams, I'll send the evaluation out to the entire team. I've never met anybody in the team. all their reports come back to me, and I look at them and I go to the team leader and I'm like, listen, these are some of the things. If you're not already dealing with them on your team, this is what you're going to deal with based upon the combination of personality types. And they say, yeah, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. So then I'm able to tell them, okay, this is a strategy on how you can cope with those issues on your team and how to best lead in these situations. And they do the strategy and they get the results.
It fortifies the reason to ask the right questions. Because that assessment, like you said, it's like 20 questions, whatever it is, who would ever think? But you ask the right questions, you're going to get the answer. My next question to you is Leadership Unleashed. That's your program. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So over the course of these years of working with hundreds of business people, not all business owners, but business people in various parts of business, and I'm coaching them and I'm seeing patterns. And I like to break everything down into like a 3-piece pattern. And so what I saw was I developed this concept of what I call leadership unleashed, which I used to call like leadership 1, 2, 3 for the 3 parts to it. And it's a 3-part formula for success for leaders, that any leader, no matter where they are, whether you're, 20 years old and you're just starting your leadership journey, or, you're 65 years old and you've been in business for, 40 years and whatever, you think you know everything, but you can still improve, right? So Leadership Unleashed works for everybody. It's do's and don'ts. So we start off with inspiration. Inspiration is that step 1 in this process. And how do you inspire your team? People say they're not motivated. Why doesn't my team want to work, right? So, and I get this question all the time, how do I be a good leader when my team won't be good followers? And I always point to, if you're a good leader, you'll have good followers. The better you are at upgrading your leadership skill, the better they're going to be at following your good leadership, right? People follow good leaders and they don't follow ineffective leaders, right? So number 1 is inspiration. It's a set of skills, do's and don'ts, right? Because you can't inspire somebody with one hand and demotivate them with the other hand. And that's what a lot of leaders do. And so it's a set of skills that you can help people to be inspired, to be motivated, to be enthusiastic about showing up to work and doing your job. It's about having a vision. It's about creating a culture. The next phase is what we call activation, right? So people who are inspired and they're motivated, you can get me riled up and I feel like running through a brick wall, but I just need to know which direction to go. So there's an activation part. I need to be equipped with all the possible strategies and training and coaching and skill sets and everything that I need to be successful. So a lot of times we might motivate a team, but we don't give them the skill set to actually act on it. So there's the activation piece where when you take the inspiration and the preparation, you get an activation. I know I got these old Asian, alliterations going on.
You're providing inspiration.
Inspiration, yeah. So, and then the third step is transformation, right? So transformation, if they're inspired and they're activated, now we need a system of measuring and accountability and conversations. Like I call them accountability coaching. You coach people on how to be better versions of themselves, right? And so, you and I are familiar with a lot of that. We do, we're in similar circles where we do that. And so that coaching relationship, setting goals, having measurable, SMART goals, specific, measurable, time-bound goals that somebody sets, and then we can measure them and see, okay, what got in the way of you achieving this goal? And how can we overcome that barrier next time? Everybody's going to encounter barriers. There's hurdles. No progress is easy. It's always an uphill climb. So helping people to discover what their barriers are and strategizing with them on how to overcome that, and then holding them accountable for that progress, that creates true lasting transformation. And that's ultimately what we're looking for. We want better versions of each person and better versions of this organization.
Many times in the past, we've heard this term, they're a born leader. They're a born leader. Or leaders born.
As I've heard said, I've never met an unborn leader. So yes. However, no good leader is born with all of their skills that they need to be a good leader, right? So we know encountering people that some people are more task-oriented. They're more, like numbers and metrics and productivity and competition, those kind of things, right? They like the metrics, they like scores and stuff like that, right? And other people are more casual, friendly, easy to get along with. Like you're a very people-oriented person. When people talk to you, they like you. They just want to hang out with you. They don't want to spend more time with you. You're very people-oriented, right? You care about people. You value people, and people feel that when they're with you. So we find that some leaders who are people-oriented, people like the people-oriented part, but it doesn't help them to win. And other leaders that are focused on winning, they're lacking the people-oriented part, right? So we find that the best leaders combine both of those skill sets together. But very, very few people naturally are good at being task-oriented and people-oriented, right? You're either one or the other. So everyone has to develop the other skill set in order to fully complement their leadership, right? So we find out about 12% of leaders are people-oriented. 12% of good leaders, or people who have been rated as effective leaders, are people-oriented. About 12% of them are task-oriented, and then over 70% of them have the combination. So putting those two pieces together really makes the effective leader. And very few people, like, I'm going to say that nobody really has it. I don't say nobody because nobody is nobody, but most likely, and I know that there's leaders out there that go, I have them both. No, you don't. Sorry. You probably downloaded it. Yeah. Refer to step 1, which is the self-assessment humility part of it. So, everyone has to develop some part of that. It's a developable skill, leadership.
In a way, aren't we all leaders? We're leading ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So leadership starts with self-leadership, right? And so I cannot expect someone else to follow me if I'm not even following myself. If I'm not true to myself, and people are going to spot that a mile away. We know inauthentic leaders, and people point that out. It's like it's a clear character flaw when somebody can say to you, you're asking me to do this, but you're showing me that you do something completely different. So we have to lead by example, and that's self-leadership first.
How do we connect with you? Lots of questions. People, it's been on your radar. Let's say somebody's thinking about upping their game as a leader. How do we find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to go to my website, beauchampteam.com. So there's my logo up there. Might be a little hard to read, but beauchampteam.com. You can call my number at 631-770-7705. Should be hopefully easy enough to remember. The initial consultation is always free. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about anything at any time, helping them out to grow themselves, their business, their leadership. The consultation is not a big sales pitch. It's really helpful, useful information. And if you like it and you think, wow, I can really benefit from this, then we move forward.
Your passion shines through. You're here. Seriously, you're here to help people improve professionally and personally. And this is your life's journey.
100%.
Final question here. Team Maxwell. You've worked with John Maxwell.
Yeah.
Big organization.
Yeah. So the Maxwell Leadership Team is like one of the largest leadership training coaching organizations in the world. There's over 50,000 trained, certified coaches, speakers, and trainers as part of the program. I'm at the executive level with that. So I'm an executive program leader. I have the availability to teach and train any of the Maxwell leadership content that's available at all the levels. And having the backing of John Maxwell, the greatest thing is the culture that we get, this values-based culture of caring for people, adding value to people, working with people who value themselves and value others. It's a tremendous organization to be part of, not tremendous in size-wise, but just emotionally a tremendous uplifting organization to be part of, and to be able to spread good leadership values around the world is amazing. I've been to other countries with the Maxwell Leadership Team, and just having an impact on the world, making the world a better place through developing leaders. I feel like it's gives exponential impact, which is my life mission, exponential impact.
Leadership Unleashed, the 3 prongs of that are?
Inspiration, activation, transformation.
Make that transformation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe, always great talking with you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
This is Meet the Elite Long Island coming at you from the Bod Pod Studios. If you ever want to do a podcast just like this, we'll help you. We've got different sets. We'll walk that journey with you. Check us out at vodpodstudio.com.
Meet the elite.